sure the members of the committee, any of support.
Anyone else in support? Okay, look, committee members. Yes, Mr. Call, Representative Call.
Thank you. And I think I understand the problem pretty well. And such is the situation we've got when we ran into the charter school. I can understand the need and what you're talking about. So I'm not too sure that with the concerns from the legislative point that this is quite the way to go. But if there's any influence that we have on what LESC studies, and I would think that LFC biz plan also needs to be included, because we need to be looking at the cost to the school districts and what impact it have on the SEG, and so we need the money side looked at this one also. And with that, Madam Chair, that's just a suggestion.
Thank you. Yes, anyone else? Yes, Representative Roche.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good morning, Representative and witnesses. Appreciate you being here. So, a couple questions. I want to look on page 3 first. Page 3, section H on the bottom, paragraph H. It talks about if the transportation service area of a school district is expanded, then that additional area will be counted for purposes of funding. Is that SEG funding or is that transportation funding?
Transportation funding.
Okay, so Madam Chair, that would be part of the transportation funding calculation in terms of square miles or miles traveled. Can I ask LESC a question about that transportation calculation, Madam Chair?
Yes,
Mine?
please.
David, tell me the role of square mileage in a district's transportation service area compared to miles traveled on the bus routes.
My understanding is the WDGers that actually traveled the businesses that their transportation funding formula. It may have been in the past that square miles did play a role. The transportation funding formula variables are not existing.
Right.
Statute, which is something we've talked about in the past.
Sure.
Here, but currently, miles is the miles play.
Okay. Well, and Madam Chair, that was my understanding as well, and that's why I was a little unsure of how this piece would operate, because I don't believe square miles is actually a function in the calculation of transportation funding. So, and that just may be an outdated reference to a variable that used to be included, but isn't still. So you may need to look at that paragraph H. Now, paragraph I on the top of the next page actually does say if students participate in transportation under this agreement that you're proposing here, or what's already in reg, then transportation funding for those students shall be provided to the school district that they attend. That makes sense. So you may just be able to eliminate H and basically make those students eligible riders for purposes of the calculation. If you do that and read letter, that may fix it. I do want to look though on the top of page 2 now. It's the subsection A, and there's two main pieces I really want to talk about in here. The temporary boundary agreements would basically only be allowed for districts that are adjacent or adjoining within a geographic area in which geographic or climatic conditions would suggest this is necessary. So geographic, I think I understand. Climatic may be a little vague. I mean, is it like it's too hot this week, and so I want to change? Is it, or is there a little bit of snow, or is it foggy? I'm not. Climatic changes so frequently. Do we have a definition that you're proposing for what climatic conditions would qualify?
I believe this is already part of the law. This isn't the part that's being changed.
Is this language that's already in reg?
Madam Chair.
This is new material, so. It's new material as far as the law, because I don't think the law goes to this. Madam Chair, is this language that's already in the reg? Maybe Ms. Rivera could tell me.
Madam Chair, Representative Raj, to my understanding, from the information that I was given, that the bill duplicates the temporary boundary agreements in NMAC in its entirety as stands.
Okay. LESC may be able to speak to that as well. David?
Yeah, Madam Chair, Representative members of the committee, the current regulation specifies geographic conditions or climatic was added as part of this bill. So that is new material to the current.
Oh, I see. So the reg, Madam Chair, says geographic, but the bill is proposing to add climatic in the codification process. Can you, Mateka, do you have information on that? Is that wrong or right?
Madam Chair, Representative Raj, thank you so much. I was looking on page 2, subsection A.
The very top, the first two words
That
on the
is
top of
correct.
page 2.
And it is my understanding that, yes, that is new material.
Okay. Well, it's new material in that, Madam Chair, none of this is in statute right now, and so that's why it says new material on page 1. But my question is, I understand that it's all new material because we're seeking to codify in the bill, codify what's already in reg. My question is, are the words or climatic in the reg that's seeking to be codified, or is it being added in as a proposal just in this bill? And it sounds from LESC like or climatic is not in there. Okay, all right, that's helpful. And take it, don't sit down, because you had made a comment in testimony that I wanted to ask a follow-up question about. You had indicated, talking about the geographic conditions, you had indicated that, you know, if a parent maybe works closer to another school, that might be a reason that they would enter this kind of an agreement. But I'm looking on page 2, line 1, it seems like the agreement is only available when conditions make it unsafe. Well, your example seemed to suggest a choice or a convenience rather than an issue of safety. Can you tell me maybe explain your example further, because maybe I didn't understand it.
Madam Chair, Representative Roche, I appreciate your question. I wanted to make sure that I included all of the reasons in our school district that have come to the school board in superintendent, from parents and from students, and concerns from area chapter house and Navajo Nation. One being that parents work closer to another school district. Others are safety and regarding climatic changes. This would be impassable roads. We have many roads in our county that are impassable, either flooding, rainstorms, snowstorms. We have several bridges. I think we're up to 8 or 9 right now that were are questionable roadways. So these are all a combination of reasons. I hope I've answered your question.
Okay. Well, Madam Chair, you've answered my question in that you basically said the example you gave is an example of a concern brought to you. But I don't know that under your bill, that example would necessarily qualify as an unsafe situation that would warrant a transportation agreement. Mr. Chapetti, care to speak to it? I'm happy to.
Madam Chair, Representative Ross, the example that was brought to us when the local government came to our board to bring this forward is many of geographic should include economic hubs. Most of the people living in southern San Juan County come to either Window Rock, Arizona, the Navajo Nation capital, to work, or to Gallup to work. The school is to the north, where those economic hubs are to the south. So they come to the south to work and actually pass right through our schools, Tohatchee, Twin Lakes, Dodge, coming into Gallup. If their students stay for after-school activities or athletics, there's no busing. So on their way home, they're passing by the school, they can pick up those children. Where if their children are going to the north, they're having to sit outside in inclement weather, stray dogs, sexual predators who live in the area and such. They're outside for an extended period of time for their parents to come pretty much past their home to the school to pick them
and then come back. It is, that road happens to be the highest fatality in the nation. It used to be called US 666 for a reason, I think. And we've had one death there already last year when we stopped the bus, and the next day, a mother driving her child to the county home to the bus stop after she dropped her off on her way back home was killed. So that's the safety type of issue that we brought forward.
Okay. Madam Chair, I think it's going to be a very gray area of how we reconcile the word unsafe, which warrants a transportation agreement in section A, with the matter of choice prohibition in subsection G on the next page, page 3. Page 3 here would say, agreements shall not be authorized to transport students, basically as a matter of choice. And so that's a pretty big gray area, that matter of choice versus unsafe conditions. And presumably, one district may claim it's an unsafe condition, and the other district may say, oh no, that's a matter of choice. And then it automatically is going to go right to that dispute clause. And then I wanted to ask one question on that dispute issue. Madam Chair and Representative, I believe I didn't catch your name, I'm sorry.
Mike Hyatt.
Okay, Mike, thank you. You said the bill was proposing to add one step in the dispute regs that are already in existence. Which is the one new step?
On section 4,
Okay.
it discusses in paragraph 1 that local school boards shall first request their respective local government entities, including counties, municipalities, and chapter houses, to conduct an examination of the issues relating to the transportation boundaries dispute and provide written recommendations for resolving disputes.
So that is the new step, basically kind of a discovery phase, if you will. What's the need? Let's make sure we understand the landscape, and then move on to the dispute resolution procedures. Is that correct? Okay, that's helpful. On the back end, if notice in section 4, paragraph B, it talks about if the boards are unwilling, the department can develop one and then can mandate it upon the districts. That's current reg? Is that you're seeking to retain that provision in the statute? And then reading paragraph C, Madam Chair, the decision of the department shall be final. But one of the gentleman from the back from Central suggested that there was also an appeal available to district court, and that it may incur additional costs to districts involved. And maybe I misheard, but do you read that there's an appeal to district court beyond the department's decision? I mean, this is final, but I heard the claim about possible court.
Madam Chair, Representative Rush, I can't speak to what that would be as far as anything past this, as far as appeal process.
Perhaps, LAFC, David, do you know if decisions around agreements have gone to court? Does that option exist?
Yeah, they have. Generally, what happens is the department is then reviewed by government
there is still judicial remedy.
Yeah.
Okay, no, that's helpful. And then I have a question for Mr. Rivera from the department. How many of these transportation boundary agreements under the reg exist today? Do you have a number or a ballpark at least?
Madam Chair, Representative Ross will get that for you right now. I'm texting back and forth with Matt Hall.
Okay. Well, the only reason I ask is I know of one because I previously served as an administrator in the Tucumcari schools, and Tucumcari schools and West Las Vegas schools have a decades-old transportation boundary agreement for students who reside at Conchas, which is technically in San Miguel County and therefore the West Las Vegas district, but are transported on Tucumcari buses to the Tucumcari schools. It's closer. I mean, it's literally closer. And then most of the folks in Conchas do business. They do their shopping, they do their banking, they do their their post office box, whatever. They're in Tucumcari, not in Las Vegas. And so I just know that these options exist without the law because they're in reg. So I just wasn't sure how frequently the department authorizes these agreements or how often school districts enter into those agreements. So. There may be other folks that wish to ask questions, so
I'll yield at this time. I'm just really seeking information on this. I mean, I like the concept, but there's more discussion needed.
Okay, and before I call, we're again for 10:30, and we still have one more bill after this. Representative Salazar.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And in fact, my question, I think, was answered based on the questions that Representative Roche had. In fact, he took it much further. Madam Chair, and just so the committee will indulge me, having worked in Cuba, although the particulars are very different, but the issue of safety really was highlighted while I was in Cuba. We had 3 youngsters that passed by virtue of situations regarding where they were dropped off. Now, it didn't involve, transportation among 2 different districts, but the safety issue is an issue. And if we don't go much further with this particular bill than this committee, it is something that it needs to be addressed, and hopefully we can come up with a good solution to this problem, because I do realize why safety was mentioned as an issue regarding this bill. Thank you very much, Representative Johnson, for bringing this forward, and thank you, Madam Chair.
Yes, thank you. Representative Dines?
Yes, Madam Chair, Representative, my questions will be just very few. Under this new material, Section 4, Representative and Mr. Hyatt, all of this is brand new. It says new material.
It is. Madam Chair, Representative Dines, it is.
One of the things I've learned is that, Madam Chair, Representative, is that many times if we leave things open-ended without time requirements, people don't really respond as quickly as they should. It sounds like these are the kinds of issues that need to be responded to rather quickly. So with that said, Madam Chair, Representative, was there some reason that you did not put some kind of time element in here as to deadlines from a timing standpoint? Because what happens under number 1, if the local school board drags its feet, slows the process down, then you finally get the information you've been seeking, you go to Madam Chair and Representative, then you go to number 2, and one of the school boards is dragging its feet. It doesn't seem like there's a way here that you bring it to a head by saying it's fish or cut bait day, as I call it, on a certain date. And so I think that would be something to certainly consider, because I think you could have a lot of, quote, politics maybe being played here. We would not want to see that, especially if there's safety concerns that are out there. So those are my comments, Madam Chair, Representative, and thank you for bringing this bill.
Okay, Representative Stapleton. We have a second. All right. Yeah. Oh, we have a question? Okay, we'll hold on the motion.
Thank you, Madam Chair and Representative. Have you read the executive message on Senate Bill 122 from last March?
Madam Chair, Representative Youngblood, would that be the regional message?
Yes.
Yes, Madam Chair, Representative Youngblood, thank you so much for bringing that to our attention. And that is the reason why we rewrote the bill. And what we took out was the reference to only Native American students in last year's legislation, Madam Chair, Representative Youngblood. Language was 75% Native American students within the district, and we have addressed that.
Okay, and Madam Chair and Representative, we've heard testimony that this is duplicative. Is it not?
Albert. Madam Chair, Representative Youngblood. So we feel as though the bill in this form is quite okay. All right, Ruth?
Okay, Madam Chair, that's all the questions I had.
Okay, thank you. At this time, we have a motion. Yes.
And, well, Madam Chair, I don't really have another question. Thanks for the opportunity to speak a second time. I'm not ready to vote. I'm not ready to vote yes on a do pass on the bill as introduced right now. Several of the items that I've addressed, I think, need a little more massaging. The issue of climatic, the reconciliation between unsafe and choice, the funding calculation, which I think is really erroneous, and I don't think that you intended to be erroneous, but and then the timing that Representative Dines brought up, maybe a timeline on the dispute resolution process. I think, Madam Chair, Representative, if you could get some amendments drafted that would address some of those concerns, I think the bill would be a lot more palatable, at least to me. If we run through the bill as it is right now, I'm going to have to oppose it, and I'd hate to do that because I like the concept of the bill. I would propose those amendments, and I'll certainly let you make that decision then.
All right, and so your decision is to go ahead and roll this over and see what you can do with amendments. Okay, at this time, the sponsor is going to pull her bill off and make some changes, and then we'll bring it back. Okay, now at this time, yes. Okay, we're done. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay, we have House Bill 345, Representative Richard. Whenever you're ready.
Thank you, Madam Chair. You have in front of you House Bill 345, and which seeks to give a dual credit in high school for civics for what we're calling an interactive government literacy course, which is Boise State. Madam Chair and members, this